The story of Saint Etheldreda, Abbess of Ely.
Subscribe to our channel to receive more content like this.
Let me take you back to a time before England was even called England, to the 7th century, an age of kings and queens, of war and faith, of fierce battles and quiet saints. In the heart of this world was a woman named Etheldreda. Some called her Etheldreda. Others knew her simply as Audrey. She was a princess, a queen, and eventually a saint. But her story, it's not about power or palaces. It's about choosing a different kind of greatness. Etheldreda was born into royalty around the year 636. Her father, King Anna of East Anglia, was a Christian king in what is now Eastern England. He raised his children not just with riches, but with deep faith. Etheldreda stood out. From a young age, she didn't care much for luxury. She wore simple clothes, avoided excess, and most of all, she wanted to dedicate her life to God. She dreamed of becoming a nun, but as a princess, her life wasn't really her own. When she was still young, Etheldreda was married off for political reasons. Her first husband was a nobleman named Tondbert. Now, here's the surprising part. Etheldreda made a vow to remain a virgin, even within marriage, and Tondbert respected that. He honored her vow. He let her live quietly, even giving her land to live on in Ely, a peaceful island in the marshlands. For a time, she lived almost like a nun, praying, fasting, and helping the poor. But peace didn't last. Tondbert died a few years later, and once again, politics stepped in. This time, Etheldreda was married to Egfrith, the young king of Northumbria. At first, he was just a boy, but as he grew older, he began to desire a true royal marriage, a family, heirs, a queen in every sense of the word. But Etheldreda stayed firm. She still believed her heart belonged only to God. She refused to break her vow. This caused tension, deep tension. Egfrith tried to convince her. He offered wealth, power, anything, but she wouldn't change her mind. Eventually, she did something bold. She left. She fled the royal court and escaped to Ely, returning to the quiet land her first husband had once given her. It was dangerous. Egfrith was angry. Some say he even tried to have her captured. But Etheldreda was protected by allies and perhaps by divine intervention. Legend says that when soldiers tried to pursue her, the tide of a river rose suddenly and blocked their path, buying her time to escape. Once back in Ely, Etheldreda finally lived the life she had longed for. She founded a monastery there, welcoming women who also wanted to live for God. She became the Abbess of Ely, the leader of this new religious community. And she wasn't just a figurehead. She lived simply, worked with her hands, and fasted often. She slept little, prayed constantly, and treated everyone, rich or poor, with love. People admired her, not because she was a former queen, but because she walked the talk. Etheldreda's reputation spread. Even as a noblewoman, she embraced poverty. She wore rough clothes made from wool. She gave away everything she could, and she always placed faith before comfort. She believed in healing, both physical and spiritual. Many said her prayers brought miracles, but she also suffered. In her final years, she developed a painful tumor in her neck, and yet she never complained. She saw it as a way to share in Christ's suffering. In 679, Etheldreda died. She was only in her early 40s. 16 years after her death, her body was exhumed, and something astonishing happened. Her body had not decayed. The wound on her neck healed. To the people of Ely, this was a sign, a miracle. She was declared a saint, and her monastery became a place of pilgrimage. A great cathedral was eventually built on the site of her abbey, Ely Cathedral. It still stands today, a towering symbol of her faith. And her name lived on. In fact, the modern name Audrey comes from her, though over time the word was twisted. Once, cheap necklaces sold at fairs in her honor were called tawdry, a sad misrepresentation of a saint who loved simplicity and purity. Etheldreda's life is easy to overlook. She wasn't a warrior. She didn't write books. She didn't command armies. But she made bold choices in a time when women, especially royal women, had almost no say in their future. She gave up power for peace. She left behind wealth for worship, and she chose a life not of comfort, but of conviction. In a world of noise, she lived in stillness, and in that silence, she became one of the loudest voices of faith her age would ever hear. This is the story of Saint Etheldreda, Abbess of Ely, a queen who walked away from the throne to wear the crown of a saint.